Ta-da! So I wanted to talk to you about African spirituality and the caste system. So certain African society have caste, or the hierarchical organization of different ethnic group into different specialty. And like any type of caste society based on caste system, it doesn't work quite well. It only works well when everybody is actually doing their purpose and when there is some shift in terms of mobility. And that's why in most societies that we know of that have caste, those societies are now in complete shambles, because you cannot have social mobility when you have caste. Basically, when you're born in a certain tribe or in a certain ethnic group, that's where you're going to spend your entire life. That's what's going to determine your social status. That's what's going to determine sometimes your trade or your profession or your vocation. In some of those civilizations and societies, certain things were put in place and worked well, especially in societies where it wasn't based on your skin color, but it was more based on maybe your blood type and the family clan that you came from. And then there was kind of like a specialization, so such and such clan, especially sometimes it was linked to your name, or a group of names that were attached to your ethnic group or to your family or to your clan. Sometimes it was made in terms of the region you came from, and there were associations that were made like that, so that where people realize, okay, this ethnic group seems to have a lot of medium, a lot of psychics. This ethnic group seems to have a lot of herborists. This ethnic group seems to have a lot of animal totem. This one is a lot of plant and vegetable totems and stuff of that nature. And so at some point it starts getting where you're born into a clan, and then that's your path. You don't have any choices to explore other things or to express other talent, and you may be very frustrated. You also don't have any mobility unless you're marrying into another clan and being absorbed that manner, which was kind of rare. And so you can find people who are in different clan but don't express the general particular trait that's associated with that, but they may have a talent associated with another clan, and then they find themselves stuck. You may also have, for example, clans or family that are dedicated to the music and the art. Like sometimes they will say the griot has to come from a specific lineage. It has to be initiated. Not everybody can do music. Not everybody can just talk about societal problems and express that into art. And then when you get to this point, you start seeing what the problem is now. You start seeing that individuals may have many talents and may want to express many talents as well. And when you are kind of boxed into that, you may feel frustrated because you cannot express the multiple talents that you may have. And of course, you always have the option to just leave and be on your own, which was the route that not very few people took, because it meant also fighting for yourself and facing nature in its raw form back then. So, but however, what happened is that when those institutions are built upon to maintain this kind of system, and to somewhat also be pillars, because they will say, well, you know, if this clan has all of this wealth of wisdom and knowledge about, you know, music and the African art or the Kora, then it is only natural that they are the one initiating people into that art, because they have all of the knowledge and the wisdom from that, and that's what they're supposed to be doing. But instead of making it just restricted to the people from the clan, they could envision that if you had another child born in a different clan but had the talent, the raw talent of that child could be initiated. And so friction started occurring when you're going to see that different tribes may have a variety of talents and wanted to get initiated in different things, and the scares of one tribe becoming very powerful because they will have so many members initiating other trades, while other tribes wouldn't have those people with that natural talent. So then this kind of starts creating discord in terms of, you know, power shift and people being focused on power. And that's the most predominant issue. When you step away from your own responsibility and you start focusing on your power, gaining power, controlling others, or acquiring more power to yourself and basically being very individualistic or being self-serving, whether it is just for yourself, your family, your ethnic group only. And the remedy to that, which I find is really ironic and is also very divine, is like whenever somebody is trying to acquire, take away from others and screwing away from accountability, from the power that were entrusted to them to serve, then we start seeing that individuals in different type of tribes start having the same like gift. Anyone now can start being gifted to play the chorale without being initiated. People will have also gift of having visions and being mediums without even knowing what it is. Those information will just come to them. Those are gifts that they received without having to do anything, without having to be initiated. And then to the society or to the system, it starts creating a chaos. And it is a chaos in some form, because then the people who are in charge of this institution don't have the control anymore. Now they do not have the control in terms of who's able to play this instrument, who's able to express this and that. It becomes now a battle sometimes. But I think it is a blessing, because it will remind these people that the important when you have certain powers is to serve the people. It's not to just serve and help yourself. By serving the people, you will help yourself anyways. And I think those type of mechanisms were put in place to balance the fact that it was probably known or anticipated, or at some point somebody will try to cheat the system and just take that for their own, or some individual or some group of people will try to do that. So in counterbalance, those type of wisdom, this type of access to knowledge was just given freely to Jews who stepped up to take it, or those who need it most. So this is why, for me, from my perspective, as I've stated in my video on terms of initiation, I will not want to be initiated by anyone, because I don't subscribe to a specific to a specific institution or a specific dogma, because I haven't seen an institution or a group of people or a system that would initiate me without wanting to have this control. I haven't seen an institution that is purely into serving and sharing that without controlling, and accepting that an individual may be inclined to different other things and have different mini gifts, basically. And not to say that the institution out there are bad or anything. I said that, to me, something that conform and that will align with me, I haven't found it yet, and I haven't seen it. I'm sure if I do find that, it may be I may decide to get initiated, but I haven't seen that yet. So I don't see the need for it. And I think also it's different when you receive gifts on your own, gift that you didn't ask for. That information comes to you, and even when you try to avoid it and put it aside, there's more information that comes to you, so to the point where you just can't avoid it. That's very different from you trying to seek out that information by being trained into reading tarot, or being trained into different divination tools. Then you're seeking the information, you're trying to gain access to open portals and things of that nature. That's very different from you just being poured that information, and maybe try later on trying to understand that, and later on trying to canalize that information that you get, and to get more accurate by using those different tools of divination. That's two separate things, and I think that's why sometimes when you try to call that kind of things to you, you may end up calling things that may be negative, because of depending on what is your intention with that. Yeah, and ultimately I think we wouldn't have necessarily everyone having different talents and gifts if maybe the proper system was working. I think, to me, one point where people outside of the designated ethnic group are getting gift as well is because they may need that, and maybe because the institutions that were supposed to serve are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Therefore, the talents is being spread all around for everyone to dip into and for everyone to use. And also I think there've always been people who were outside of those institution and who had those gifts, and a lot of them didn't talk about it because you could be, you know, persecuted. You could be also forced to follow a certain code that you didn't personally want or didn't adhere to, or you can have all kind of thing coming to you if you share that. So it may be also the reason why some people wouldn't just say that they have those gifts, and why it has always existed. In modern times, I'll say that it is very frequent to have people who exalt different gifts even without knowing. I think when I've talked to you about different dreams that can be a premonition and things of that nature, that's kind of like the basic way to see that we all get sometimes a glimpse of the future, a glimpse of or warnings or things that we can pre-figured out without being initiated, without participating in any formal rituals or anything of that nature, just because we are open or just because the information pertains to us or somebody who's close to us and needs to get it. And that's one of the classical way that nobody can prevent you to explore and to receive that information in your dreams. Nobody can curtail you in your dreams. Nobody can curtail also the ability that you do have. Sometimes it's also a matter of that, a matter of you being open to being more attentive to the type of thought you receive when you're around a specific person. Sometimes you can see that reading people's mind, it can be sometimes just a matter of you being quiet and being open to the information and the thoughts that comes to you when you're thinking about somebody or when you are in the vicinity of somebody. And which most of us really don't. Sometimes instead of having conversation, we're much more waiting for somebody to make a point so we can make a point as well. We're not really listening to each other. Sometimes it is a matter of like you're not really just being bored and passing time, but we don't necessarily connect with that person on a deeper level where we are actually listening to not just what they're saying, not just their body language, but much more deeper in the energy that they're sending you as they're speaking to you or as you are thinking of them and connecting to their own energy. So that, I think it's a simple exercise sometimes, especially if you are in a relationship with somebody. If you've been in that relationship for a long time, you may even it may be easier for you to connect to that energy and to kind of like even start doing telepathy with your partner. Simply because you will engage with the energy, you will get to the same vibration, and you just really being open to listen in any kind of shape of ways the information that comes from that person to you. How many times some of us will have, like, you're thinking about somebody, they call you, or you want to call somebody and they call you. That's when, because you have this little fraction of seconds where you're exactly aligned on the same vibration, on the same vibe, and you're connecting. And for most people, it only lasts a few seconds. And sometimes the goal and the exercise is to remain in that connection for a longer period of time. That's where you can even connect into dreams. You can connect in your thought. You can be sending talking telepathically to other people, telepathy is probably the one of the best ways when people are talking about languages. When you don't know someone's language, telepathy will get you on the same vibe. So the language doesn't even matter anymore. It's all about what the vibe and the thought that you're saying to each other, and that gets translated to the other side. And so I'm not going to get too deep into that, but it's just to say that the caste system sometimes is put in place to kind of like order everything, and order is not always the best way to go, especially when it can be corrupted. So there's always been people on the margin, people sometimes that I do sometimes call guardians, people who have access to all of that knowledge and who can use it when the time comes. That's why also I never say that, you know, I don't understand why people will say, oh no, the knowledge is lost. Nothing is ever lost. Everything is always within our collective consciousness. And so each of us can access that information only if you want to take the time to do so. Each of us can get to that level and find the information that we're looking for. But the trick is that most of us won't want to spend the energy, won't have the patience, so they're not. And it really comes to those who actually invest in those who are really open to that, either that manage to access that while they are in the ethers or once they are physically incarnated. but nothing is ever lost. You can even sometimes just go in meditation and find something you think you thought was lost, or was something you don't remember where it was. Just by meditating, it can be shown to you where it exactly is. I mean, I've done this time and time again, where I'll be in a place or a vicinity and somebody say, oh, I'm losing something, and then I will just ask myself, where is it? And then I will have like either an image or a thought about, okay, check there, and there it is. And that comes with trusting yourself. That comes with, you ask yourself something straight comes, the first thing that comes to your mind, going with that, not even questioning it. And you have to do it time and time and time and time again, so that it just becomes a habit, that you don't even think about it. And so I hope this was useful in terms of talking to you about, caste systems. I'm not really a fan of that. I really think that we are at a time, a day and age where we all have multiple talents. We can't be boxed into one thing, and I think most of us will want to express and share those talents within the same lifetime. A lot of us have expressed many different talents in many different lifetimes, and sometimes it is this one lifetime where we want to explore this facet of ourselves, that facet of ourselves, and we don't have time to be boxed in some kind of way. We don't have time to be restrained. It is really the time sometimes to explore what you can do, how you can contribute, how you can serve others as yourself, as serving others, you'll serve yourself, and you'll know yourself better. You will prepare, you reach your goal, you accomplish things, so that the next chapter will be even of a higher caliber. And because you are committed to so many experiences that you can share in this life and others. I really think that it's time to do away with the boxes, and to look at people for what they can offer to the world, and to nurture them so that they can use those gifts to contribute and make our experience, our collective experience, better rather than harder, or rather than more difficult or negative. So let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.